counterfeiting, and a lot of our first customers aren't actually pharmaceuticals. And COVID really exploded the counterfeiting problem because a lot of government workers took a break, including the ones that are in charge of fighting counterfeiting. So now estimates are like total global counterfeiting costs the economy between like 2.3 and $4 trillion. I know that's a wide range, it's hard to measure underground
Yeah, how do
markets,
you measure the
but
underground?
like it's the low is 2 trillion. So it's a huge, just a giant global problem.
All right, this is another episode of the Founders Pack Form Your Own Pack podcast. My guest today is Matt McGuire from Safestamp. Matt, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So great to be here. Thanks for having me. Big fan of the show.
Oh, no problem. We're excited to talk about what you're working on. So, for people that don't know, who is Matt McGuire and what is Safestamp?
All right. So let me tell my story here. I
Sure.
graduated college early and I'm like, I need to do something with my life. So I joined the army. I enlisted, I didn't become an officer. I joined something adjacent. Technically it's special operations, but it's more like adjacent to it, though literally in it, kind of technical. So I'm in Iraq and I'm in Afghanistan, but first Iraq, and I'm wondering, how are these guys so well funded? These various groups, your ISIS, your Al Qaeda, some other groups you've never heard of. Like, how do they get so much money? So I look into it. They do something called pharmaceutical counterfeiting. Actually, they do counterfeitings of all sorts, but the one that bugged me was pharmaceutical counterfeiting. So they'll make these pills that look like the real thing, smell like the real thing, are packaged like the real thing, sell them to pharmacies around the world, in which they're sold as the real thing, but they're complete fakes. They're complete fakes. So I didn't think too much of it. But then after the army, I went to Wharton, UPenn, try to get my MBA, and I noticed the foreign students would buy medicine and vitamins in Philadelphia and send them home to their families.
Oh,
So I
wow.
asked them why. They're like, we don't trust the medicines we're getting at our local pharmacies in our home countries. So that says something off of me. So I went to the Van Ness, the business library, did some reading, and it turns out 200 pharmaceutical companies lose $200 billion per year
What?
to counterfeiting. Yeah, and that was before COVID. We'll get into the post COVID after.
Imagine.
And Interpol's number, not my number, 1 million people each year die from this problem. And in fact, I told one of my friends who was a terp for us and a interpreter for us. We call him terps in Iraq. This Kurdish guy, he's like, "Oh yeah, my brother died of fake chemotherapy." So these guys are real scumbags. Not my friends, the people that are making fake chemo.
Yeah, that's
So I
crazy.
set my mind to do something to it. This is around 2015. A few months ago, I finally finished the product. It's called Safestamp. Safestamp is a nanotech indicator. It affixes to packaging. You can interact with it. You touch it, and it reveals patterns and changes colors. It's based off the sophisticated new development material science that my scientists are the only one in the world that knows how to do, right? So we only sell it to authentic goods, not fake stuff, and customers themselves can see if it's real or not by touching the packaging.
So when you say, so the experience is like, if I buy, like, for example, let's say this was like, a bottle of medication, is it the pill itself that has the nanotechnology in it, or it's like the bottle?
It's the packaging. So
Okay.
depending on the country how they package it, we can put on the box, we can put on the bottle, or a lot of them use foil packs for medicine. Now, if you're hearing me right, it doesn't actually test the medicine. It's just an indicator. It's too hard for a counterfeiter to make, so that's how you test if it's real. So it can go for any sort of anti-counterfeiting, and a lot of our first customers aren't actually pharmaceuticals. And COVID really exploded the counterfeiting problem because a lot of government workers took a break, including the ones that are in charge of fighting counterfeiting. So now estimates are like total global counterfeiting costs the economy between like 2.3 and $4 trillion. I know that's a wide range, it's hard to measure underground
Yeah, how do
markets,
you measure the
but
underground?
like the low is 2 trillion. So it's a huge, just a giant global problem. And everyone that hears about this, all these companies are coming to me. I haven't put out any concerted customer outreach. Don't do this, future founders. You want to do it. For me in deep tech, it's hard to do customer outreach because you want to give them a certain date that you can deliver. But word of mouth got around the Wharton community, and all these people, some really big names, reached out to me, and that's a good sign. When you don't reach out to them, they reach out to you. It's a good sign that you got something on your hands.
It sounds very interesting. What is the path and what's next for you guys?
So we're raising another 500,000 to 750K to do some fine tuning on our finally finished product. We have a deal with this group in Texas, Northeast Texas, it's going to fund our plant, and they're forgivable loans if we hire enough people for their region, which we
Okay.
will. We have our first orders lined up, and we're going to be based in the corporate headquarters, Vegas, plant in Northeast Texas. We're super pumped. We're just trying to close a quick round here. We got a
Amazing.
great team.
That's terrific. Okay, so this is a super cutting edge product. I think it's the first nanotech entrepreneur that we've had on, so I'm very interested in understanding it. But I want to be conscious of everybody's time. Matt, if you could offer other founders only one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
Well, only one. Okay. I see too many founders that are trying to be like, we're like, there's that great joke in Silicon Valley, like a Facebook for potbelly Christian potbelly pig owners, right? Okay, there's no reason
Oh,
Christian
Facebook.
potbelly. Yeah, exactly. What you want to do is identify a huge problem that no one's solving. The reason social networks made a lot of money is because no one was doing social networks. Now they're very good. That's why they're making a lot of money. You don't want to go. You want to become a truffle pig, all right? You want to smell shit, all right? Like, and then you find, sorry for cursing, but you want to find where everything is messed up and go in there with the solution.
That's actually very good advice. And yeah, I guess the best solutions come out of the biggest problems. So it's like people use
Yeah, exactly.
it's the opposite. Um, we tend to focus, as you know, on building community and partnerships. What are the role of community and partnerships been in your success? And is there any advice you would have around building either of those?
Right. The veterans community was great. Obama invited me to the White House, not personally, but I went to the White House on his birthday because he wanted to see entrepreneurs. The veterans community helped me get that meeting. Um, that was cool. Also, like if you're manufacturing a physical product, I can't emphasize enough. The government and NGOs want manufacturing jobs, right? But if you build it in America, they will like you can find subsidies, tax write-offs, everything for building a factory in your area, right? Like this region, I like this region, but there are other offers all over. Like I don't know why everyone isn't doing this.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Terrific. All right. Is there anything else we haven't touched on you think is important for people to understand about what you're working on?
Sure. The way people are trying to solve it is wrong. People are trying to solve it two ways. One, by something called track and trace. Track and trace doesn't work because often the retailer, it's like supply chain manager, right? There's a lot of blockchain involved.
Yeah.
It doesn't work because the retailers don't put in the purchase order in the first place. So if you know where it is at every millisecond of the supply chain, it doesn't matter if they don't order it, right? The retailers often go to the counterfeiters. So then they use what we have, like end user technology, but every type of end user technology has been counterfeited, right? Because it's not as sophisticated. So it just helped to invent a brand new thing that's never been done, right? What we did with technology was never been done. We have videos; it's pretty great. Um, the other thing is, I want to give some more advice to founders, if you don't mind.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, I love
Bonus,
Adam Grant's
bonus
book
round.
Originals. Adam Grant's book Originals is great. I went to school with Adam Grant; he's a nice guy. I would actually recommend reading Originals because there's a lot of good stuff in there. He does give some bad advice though. So Warby Parker came out of Wharton, and they did very well. But the advice he gives is, all these guys, they had management consulting jobs lined up or whatever. They had a backup plan, right? What you want to do is de-risk. And no, if I'm going to quote Napoleon, if you set out to take Vienna, take Vienna. Like you want, like the startup life, it takes all your energy, mental, physical, spiritual. Like put it, like if you do it halfway, you're not going to succeed, right? So, but either don't do it or go all in. And also, investors and people like skin in the game. Coding Talib now, yeah, the
That makes
machine,
sense.
yeah.
Go all in according to Matt McGuire. That makes great sense. Matt, how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, we are. Anyone can get in touch with me if you're looking for advice. If you're an investor, customers, MATT at SAFESTAMP.com.
Perfect. And we will include that in the show notes. And Matt, I think in Safestamp, you guys are pitching on our Stonks January 24th event, right?
I'm very excited for that. Yeah.
Good. So if you're interested in hearing Matt's pitch against other startup founders in the winner takes all pitch event on Stonks, it's our first ever event on Stonks, which means you can actually also invest in the startups through the Stonks platform. We'll look forward to that pitch. The final thing we'll wrap up with is when we have interesting people on the Form Your Own Pack podcast, we like you to nominate other interesting people to be a future guest. We typically talk to tier one entrepreneurs and investors. Who would you, Matt, like to nominate as a future guest of the Founders Pack podcast?
Nominating two.
Do it.
Okay, so it's called the company's called Homevite, and it's run by this dude who was interpreter for us in Iraq. Like Saddam had killed a bunch of his family. He comes to America, and his nephew comes to America too. And it's very hard for them to find authentically cooked food, right? So they created an app where you could go to someone's house and they'll cook you a home cooked meal.
Oh,
I love this like they're friends of mine, but also love this company because like grandma, like if you talk to your grandma, your great grandma, for some of you younger people, their ingredients are like a pinch of this and a dash of that. It'll never be replicated, right? Like you can't like write that down, a pinch and a dash. It's so good, and I'm not a big fan of corporate food. So they're actually working on getting the laws changed, and they've worked very hard to get these laws changed. We've got thousands of customers lined up, and they also did say they're looking for they're actually getting a new PM. So if there's any programmers out
oh,
there,
okay.
email me, and I can hook you up with them. The other guy is his name's Mark Kozlowski, and he's got a brilliant he's a guy from Wharton. Up to Events. He's got a payment app that like increases revenue for event holders by a huge amount. I support that a lot too because people need to get out and have some fun after COVID.
I agree with that. All right. Those are two amazing nominations. We will look forward to those introductions. Matt, thank you so much. And we look forward to seeing your pitch on January 24th.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I also do want to invite you, by the way. I almost forgot. I will send you an invite to try out Intros by Founders Pack. So this is weekly automated AI matched introductions to other founders and some investors. Typically it's founders who are starting scalable ventures. So I'll send you an invite to that. We'd like to have you try it out.
Great. Great.
All right, this has been another episode of the Form Your Own Pack by Founders Pack. And the theme this year, by the way, I'm going to announce it here. I'll share it with you. Is wolves hunting unicorns. So we're obviously trying to meet tier one founders before they become unicorns. And wolves, we all hunt in packs. So I'm glad that you're part of mine.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.